I'm at Red Pig Tools with Bob Denman, and I think we're at story time with Uncle Bob today. You always have great stories about these antique tools in your possession here.
Yes, I have several of them here. This particular one was invented in 1878, 1879 by a Mr. Ridgway in England. And it's a hedge shear.
Oh, perfect.
And it's for
yeah.
trimming hedges like this. And it's nowadays sickle bar mowers work like this, only they have a motor attached.
Yeah, very
to
nice.
like that, so they work a little more efficiently. But this one, there's a lovely line engraving of Mr. Ridgway in a top hat, pruning a hedge with this.
At Kew. At Kew Gardens.
At Kew Gardens. He invented this. It did get used at the Royal Gardens, and that made his fortune. I mean, this suddenly became the most popular tool in England.
Sure.
And then he decided to extend his line with turning this into a grass shear for trimming lawns along the edge. So it had, instead of this handle here, it had a handle that came up like this, was very long.
Save on your back.
And you would use it like this. And it's a little rough on your back, but you could use it and you trim the hedge. So he invited everybody in the town council, in the town where he lived, to come to the public garden for the introduction of this tool. And they all showed up, and they walked around looking for a place in the garden where this tool could be demonstrated. He forgot to do that beforehand. Well, it was winter, and there was no grass growing anywhere in this part of England. So he finally found a little patch of grass, and so each one of them took turns making one cut with this, and they would go, "Oh, that works just great, terrific." And they would go like this. And then that tool, at the end of the demonstration, and everybody agreed that this was a wonderful extension. It was good for the city because it created jobs. And they were going to, he volunteered before they left to trim anybody's beard who would volunteer. With this to show how sharp and how even it cut, and several people actually volunteered to have their beards trimmed.
Oh, well, maybe we know some hipsters we can bring by
yeah,
and they can trim their beards.
Portland, yeah, this would work for Portland, but nobody lost their face or lost face in the process. Okay. Now this particular one right here is a similar tool made in the United States, and I picked this up at a little antique store out in the desert, and the guy wanted, there was a sword he had there that was a cheap junk sword made for the Renaissance Pleasure Fair that he wanted $800 for, but he sold me this for $5. Well, this is worth way more than that sword.
He didn't know what he had.
This is for people who go to go in a straight line, front and back, and you prune the hedge like this. This is for people who go side to side. Okay, like that. So I'm looking for the missing one.
Right.
It's circular. It's for people who have no idea where they want to go.
I know people like that. We'll be on the lookout at those antique stores. Yeah. And then this one looks like very interesting.
Now, this tool right here is a marvelous tool, and it was invented about the same period. And this tool, you have to tighten it up. Usually you have a wrench, and you tighten this up, and you can adjust. It's a head shear, obviously, but you can adjust the angle at which this blade sits. Well, when you prune a hedge, hedges should be properly pruned at an angle, so that because when you go straight up and down, they tend to get not enough light at the bottom, and they get kind of looking ratty. So you want to prune it at an angle. So you can set the angle and prune like this. So it's really a marvelous tool. And when you're topping a hedge, you usually have to contort yourself like this, and it's very difficult on your wrist. Well, this one, you can turn that flat to the top and prune like that. So it's a very ergonomic tool. And a fellow brought this into my store a number of years ago, and I was looking at it. I had never seen anything like it.
It's very unique.
I've seen most tools.
Of course.
And I told him, I said, this is a national treasure. This is a rare bird. This belongs in a museum. This is a really rare antique. And he said, well, I brought it to sell to you. At which time I thought about it and thought, okay, next time find out what the deal is before. Because I could have told him, it's junk, they're all over the place. But I just asked him how much. He said $75, and I bought it. That's the most I've ever paid for an old garden tool.
Moral to the story is come and see Bob and come and see all of these museum quality tools and implements, and be surprised at how much they really cost you.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.